Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vayam tuna vitripyama, uttama shloka vikrame, yachrimvatam rasagyanam svadu svadu, pade pade. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment. Adeshyate chaya imam dharmyan samvadam avayo jnana yagyana tenaham ishtasyamiti me matihi. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. The first verse was from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, shloka number 19, while the second is from the Bhagavad Gita, 1870. These are the... Then we can begin. I received a few questions. Actually, this week, I received only 2 questions, and I will try to answer, always, obviously. One from Yamuna Devidasi, the other one on Mataji Madhuri. I'm going to answer both, starting from the one who came later, which is, well, actually, yeah. Let's begin. Okay. Jnana. Yeah, let's begin from the latest, the one that Mataji Madhuri sent, which is
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Madhuri. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so that's the question. You want to read it, your own question?
I think,
You don't have it in front of you. Okay, I will read it.
yeah.
Referring to Prabhupada Lilamrita, Srila Prabhupada said, my Guru Maharaj used to say, to attempt to see the Lord is foolishness. Do something that God sees you. So my question, how we can involve ourselves in devotional practice the Sarvopari Satchidananda, Lord Krishna sees us, or maybe we should not think that way while practice devotion. Well, you cannot see Krishna. You can see Krishna only if Krishna allow you. So try to see Krishna or trying to do something so that Krishna sees you is the same thing. But the most important is do something so that Krishna can see you, because if he cannot see you, you cannot see him. Nobody can force, for instance, the entrance in the spiritual world. Why? Because that's his home. And there are his rules. There are his rules. We cannot say Krishna, I, and his rules is that he has to like you. Uh, he has to like you to allow entrance. Just like if I come in your house, you open the door only if you like me. Otherwise, you say, no, no, I don't know you. I don't want to, you know. So the same with Krishna. That's Krishna wants only devotees in his house, which is Krishna Loka, Goloka, Vrindavana, or Vaikuntha in general. There is a difference between Krishna Loka and Vaikuntha. We are going to talk about that because there is another question about Krishna Loka that came from a Puerto Rican devotee who I could answer only a little bit after the devotee started to cover, he started to many other questions coming. I had to interrupt, but I think Yamuna was present, so she may remember or not. Doesn't really matter. But I have a pledge to continue and finish description of the spiritual world to her, but I want to talk to you also about this. So, um, Krishna has to like us. And how can he like us? What can we do? We had to love him because Krishna likes love. Everybody of us like love. In particular, Krishna, since he's pure, he has no other. Just like maybe you can like me if I give you money, or you can like me if I am beautiful, or you can like me if I am whatever, you know. But in the spiritual world, Krishna does not need our money, does not need our beauty. He's the most beautiful of all. So there is only one thing that he wants, that is our love. So if we love him, then he allows us. And this is bhakti. That is called bhakti. That's why all different kinds of yoga and sacrifices and that's all useless because it's based on your effort of becoming better. No, that's useless. You can never attract Krishna with your abilities. Krishna is more able than anyone. So you have to love him. That's why bhakti, we say, that bhakti is the best, the only one. Because without bhakti, everything else is to makes you better so that you can practice and understand what bhakti is. But there is nothing else that can give you the right and the capacity of entering the spiritual world. So what can you do? Well, Krishna spoke about this innumerable time. We can find our rules, let's say, although it's not really rules, but suggestion orders on how to go to him. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita say, offer me just a little water. Uh,
Pushpa Pala.
Patram pushpam phalanto yan yume bhaktya prayachate. Bhaktya prayachate. He's happy with very little thing, just a flower. Just a little altar in your house. Keep it clean, keep it nice, and then offer him. But if you do it, bhaktya prayachate. If there is love, if you do it with appreciation, that you believe, well, the word believe, you know that I don't like it. Anyway, if you are accepted, if you are practiced, Krishna consciousness, and there is something already in your heart that is similar to love, then Krishna say it because he is there, it's not far away, it is
Mm-hmm.
in the heart. So if in the heart there is some love, then he reciprocates, he gives you, he started to love you. Of course, you have to love him purely, and Krishna will reciprocate fully, but better little bit than nothing. So that's the answer to your nice questions. That um, that we are full of ways. It's not that bhakti is a mystery, just like the Upanishad are called rahasya. Rahasya means mysteries, not easy to understand, or that the meaning is beneath an difficult Sanskrit word, or a Nyaya type of concept, the Vedanta Sutra. Very difficult to understand the Vedanta Sutra, all of this. So um, then, bhakti is very, very easy. It's not easy to accept it because we have ego, mine, 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 mine. You can hear. Sometimes I do this exercise to hear the devotees talk, and how many times they say I. I think I feel that I want to do that. I don't want and the Krishna, bhakti means put Krishna at the center. It's not that you have to disappear. Bhakti doesn't mean that you have to annihilate yourself, but Krishna is to be at the center of your life, has to be at the center of your thought, at the center of your how you say, of your speech when you speak. I put myself trying to hear how many times devotees, in general, I've been a devotee for all of my life, so innumerable time I heard devotees talking, and they say how many times they say Krishna. One time there was one of Srila Prabhupada's disciple who went to Srila Prabhupada and showed him an article, a newspaper article. And they said, this is very bad, that they are criticizing us. And Prabhupada said, count how many times he wrote Krishna. And he was like 15, or, the Hare Krishna there. And Prabhupada said, oh, many, that's a nice article. Because we think that what we say, that what we do is very important. This is going to vanish. Vanish. Just like Srimad Bhagavatam, it's a little phrase in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I cannot find it, I will find it, where it says, everything you heard, everything you have seen, this is all false, because in a very little time, everything, all the faces of your friends, families, everybody will just vanish. Because we think that this material world is real. This material world is not real. Well, it exists, but it's not real. First verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, read it. That appears, this material world, it appears real even to great sages. Go now and see that the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam says that. So we are living and giving a lot of importance to something that is destined to vanish in one day, 1 year, 10 years, 50 years, but everything will go. And since it will go, cannot be real, just like in Bhagavad Gita says, everything material is unreal. The spiritual is real because it will last. It will stay after our death, after leaving our world. Why everything we have materially or that we want in this material world that is very attractive to us, it will go. So it is unreal because temporary. So Sarvopari Satchidanandana, you wrote. Sarva means all. Upari, this is a compendium. Two words coming together. Sarva e Upari. Upari means above, and Sarva means
Up,
every,
everyone.
everything and everyone. Everything. So
Sure.
who is the one who is above everything and everyone? That's you call this Sachinandana, the son of Mother Sachi. That's okay. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, yes. It's one of the most wonderful form that Krishna took ever. Because he is not only the Supreme Personality, but he is the teacher of Bhakti. Without Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we would never had our an understanding of what devotion is, because he came to teach us what devotion is. This is Sachinandana, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I think that I answered to you.
Yeah,
If you want me to say something more, you can ask. Otherwise, we go at the second.
no, I'm good. I understand the essence of that statement which was used in the
Yes,
book. Yeah.
yes, yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay, so let's go to the second question. It is from Yamuna. Do you want to, what is it?
I can read it to you. It's
Yeah, but I also want to read it while you read it. So let me take 1 second only. Oh no, this is just a shloka.
it's in
Ar-
the personal chat.
ar- no, I know. I have my things,
Okay.
I work and study with the Excel sheets, and I have everything in order, title and the title, verse and everything. I have 10 or 5. So if I want to read all the Bhagavad Gita, click, and only Bhagavad Gita comes. But it took me years to set it up. So, puppets, Krishna control or not? Let's see, because I want to say something about this. Yeah, please, read it.
Okay. My question has to do with Sri Krishna and the presumption that everything that happens in the world is due to his will. For instance, it was mentioned in one of Srila Prabhupada's purports that when something is his will, it will come to pass regardless of who it is that does the action. But I wonder if this is applicable to current events. There is presently a war happening that is blamed on one authority figure, the President of the United States. Would this mean that the same thing would happen by the command of someone else if he had not been in charge? How do we know what is really Krishna's will or simply an abuse of power by an ordinary person? After all, even during the Battle of Kurukshetra, there must have been individuals who thought it was unjust for innocent civilians to suffer. Does this have something to do with collective karma, a subject that you recently discussed? Thank you.
Okay, this is one of the subtler and although appears very easy, Krishna in control of everything, so everything he decides everything, we are just puppets in his hands. It is not. Well, I want to put you a question. If Krishna does everything and we are puppets, why we had to pay karma? I didn't do it. Krishna did it, so he has to pay karma. Why I am paying karma? To pay karma, it must involve the fact that I did it, that I wanted to do it. So we had to understand that because it's a little subtle. Yes. Because this, how you say, theme, this argument has been used by different type of philosophers in the past, even Mayavadi themselves, or the people, I say that the people say everything that must pass, must pass. We cannot do anything, you know. I didn't do anything. I said it is called, this is an Indian philosophy actually. I wrote in one of my books in the 80s, it was many, many years ago, fatalism. You know, I didn't do anything, you know, it happened to me. Entonces, who is the fault? God? Entonces, God, please, why you didn't? Why pass me this? I didn't do anything, you did it. So to understand how subtle is this principle, we have to understand what it means that Krishna does everything. Krishna does everything because he gives everything for us to choose what we had to do. But at the end, we do it. In the Bhagavad Gita, we read that there are 5 factors of the action. You can read it. And Ishvara, it is called Ishvara in Srila Prabhupada, it's one, the 5th. While all the others, and there is also the jiva, the effort, time, and everything, who concur to the action, and therefore, once the action is committed, then there must be some reaction. So we are not the one who put everything for me to act, because I didn't cause so much heat here. Maybe it is something because we're referring to heat or to cold, or to my son does something crazy, or this and that. I wasn't involved. But all this is caused by other actors. So the fact that Krishna does everything means that he provides us all the tools to do. And at the end, if he doesn't want, of course, nothing happens. That's obvious, you know. So nothing happens if he doesn't want, and nothing happens, it doesn't give you the life, breath, words, action, all these things. That's Krishna who does it. But then how we utilize it, then it's us, because otherwise, what's the point of karma? There must be a responsibility of the person to have karma, because if there is no action, then there is no reaction. So we decide in our heart what we want to do with everything that Krishna gave us. So he's the controller, but we decide if we want to use it in a way or in another. You know, what Krishna says at the end of the Bhagavad Gita. Who remembers? He was talking to at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter. You know, I told you, I told you transcendental knowledge. Now you do what you want. That's Krishna to Arjuna. So that means that the knowledge came from Krishna, so he was the main actor. But Arjuna could have chosen something else. Actually, did it the whole of his life. Krishna gave him so many instructions that he just didn't follow. You know, like Yudhishthira didn't follow Krishna's instruction to lie to Dronacharya about the death of his son Svatama. All this came from Krishna, but Arjuna chose not to do it. Just like in the first chapter, Krishna told him, you had to fight. And he said, no, I cannot fight because of this and this and this and that. So he wasn't immediately accepting what Krishna was telling him. But then at the end, there's the verse 2:7, where then at the end, Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. And then only at that moment, verse number 9, is that Arjuna surrendered to Krishna. And then Krishna started to speak transcendental knowledge. Before that, it was not transcendental. My my grandfather, my wife, and the women, and everything was material. Women are like the spirit soul is not woman or, then my son, my grandfather, everything was at the material level. And it was important to learn because until we are not liberated the soul, we have to follow the instruction that Arjuna gave in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. But then, if we want to be transcendentalists or spiritualists, then we have to start accepting Bhagavad Gita from 2.9. From 2.9. Everyone here, all these kings, they are destined to die because of time, because of karma, because of everything. There, where it starts Bhagavad Gita. Before it was Vedic knowledge. The Veda, who it gives us instruction how to live in this material world. But Krishna started to speak to Arjuna how to live how to go in the spiritual world. Everything before is no use if you want to go back to Krishna's abode. You have to start reading from 2.9. Of course, I'm not saying that you should not read the first chapter. What it's saying, the first chapter talks about moral principles, not spiritual principles. Spiritual principles begin when Krishna starts to state the difference between the soul and the body. But the soul is eternal, so you cannot kill Bhishma and Drona, even if you wanted to kill them. You don't want to kill Bhishma and Drona, okay? We know. But even if you wanted, you couldn't because they are eternal, because the soul cannot be cut, cannot be broken, cannot be, how you say, burned. You cannot do anything because it's just eternal, it's always there, never changes. That's Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Telling us. So the point is that there is a concomitant, how you say that in English? There are concomitant factors in the action and in a consequent reaction. And Krishna is not pulling us like puppets and we did not decide, because again, I already said that 1,000 times, because if there is no action, this is not our action, then there is no our reaction. Why we had to pay for something that Krishna did? So Krishna didn't do it, we did it, then we pay karma. So Krishna is in absolute control. If you want to stop everything, it stops, but action is been decided, wished, and I say made it by the jiva, by us. That's how we understand. Otherwise, we become fatalist. God is as Yamuna was saying in her question, so why Krishna wants war? Krishna wants to kill everybody? No, because this is not Kurukshetra. There is not a holy war. Kurukshetra was a holy war. There was reasons, spiritual reasons for this war. But now it's just the cats and dogs killing each other. They are just low-class demons killing each other And those who are apparently innocent, they're not innocent. But this is more difficult to understand because we see the reaction, these innocent, quote unquote, people at it, but we don't know the action. Who remember the story of Ganga, Shantanu, and their sons? You remember? Of course, Lavanga knows. Yamuna also. I don't know if Abby, I told this story many times. But Ganga was taken there, means there, and Shantanu Maharaj to the Ganga River. She was the Ganga personality, and drowned them, throwing them in the river as soon as they born. And everybody said, what the queen is doing? This demoniac, this killing. And he killed 7 of their sons. At the end, the Shantanu couldn't take it anymore and stopped her at the 8th to save the 8th. And then sorry, a little longer. I'm going to cut it a little bit. Anyway, and Ganga at the end told the story of an curse by the sage Vashishta, I think. He had a Surabi cow, and they tried to, the 8th Vasu tried to steal the cow. And so the sage cursed them to take birth and live a long time in Earth. For someone who lives in this upper planet, this is living here is like what is this stupid things happening? Nothing is attractive. They live in a beautiful upper planet. So they asked to be relieved by this curse. And the sage said, okay, you 7, the first 7 brothers, they will come in the earth, and then they will immediately come back by being killed by their mother. The 8th, no. The 8th, what's the name of the 8th? I don't remember. Anyway, the 8th.
Devarata.
No, Devavrata is the first name of Shantanu's son. So Bhishma was called Devavrata. Before being called Bhishma, it was Devavrata. But his name of the 8th Vasu is similar to Devavrata, but it's not. Anyway, he will live a long time on the world of men. He will be very respected. Everything is, he was a son of Ganga, and then there's Bhishma. Bhishma came to be called Bhishma when he took a very difficult vow of never marry, remain brahmachari. And from Devavrata, which is the name that his father gave him, then it became Bhishma. Bhishma means the terrible. Bhishma. He came this voice from the upper planets. Bhishma, terrible, terrible. Because in this world, it's not easy to be a brahmachari or a sannyasi, It's very, very terrible vow. That's how it happened. So I don't know why we came to Bhishma, starting from there. So there is no victims in this material world. If someone dies, he had to do something terrible, like the 8th Vasu did to sage Vashishta. That's how we arrived to Bhishma. So there is no victims because it is impossible. There's something that you have a reaction if there is no a correspondent action before. This correspondent initial action, you may not see it. It may be happened in a previous life, the previous 3 lives ago, but something happened because otherwise it means that whoever is in charge of karma, which is Yamaraj, everyone knows, is doing wrong. Means that Krishna is partial. Krishna does mistakes. Why this kid died under the bomb? What he could do, even if he wanted to do something, he's a kid. So unless we accept eternity of life, then we cannot accept that this kid who died in a terrible manner deserved that. We cannot do it because if he is 5 years old, why he died? What did he do? At 5 years old, there is not even payment or karma. You had to be at least 14 to start paying karma. So how how do we explain the apparent injustice? We explain it only with eternality of the soul and pluris birth lives in the past. Then we can explain it. Then there is an explanation to everything. Otherwise, it remains only to become inimical to God because God is unjust. Look, I was born, some of you can say, maybe all of you, you're born in very nice countries and you are beautiful, you are young, you are healthy, and you have money and this and that. And why someone else takes birth in, I don't know, in Iraq or in Africa, in the middle? Why? What is the reason? Why Krishna condemns someone to live such a horrible life, and he blessed us with everything desirable in the material world. So Krishna, why you are so unjust? Why that's who says that? Who thinks that doesn't know the philosophy, doesn't know the truth. The truth is that the soul is eternal. It goes from one body from one body. During these travels, it does things. It produces karma. And when it's going to pay each of these karmic action, we don't know. It's not up to us. Maybe a kid who was killed in a war of which he was totally innocent, that is now paying something. So we see the result, we don't see the action. So we must be sages. We must be muni. We had to be rishi. We had to be Mahatma to understand this philosophy, give up all the sentimentality, oh, you died, all these things, and become strong in transcendental knowledge. So this is the second. I think I answered. If not, tell me, and I can.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. It's a very good answer. You've explained things very well. The only thing that remains is just this simple question of if this if would what's happening now, would it have happened if somebody else were in charge? And
Well, depends who is in charge. Depends from us. Now the world leaders are not very different from uh, uh, Hitler or Duryodhana, who caused the death of millions of people. We have in the human history horrible people who did horrible things. you know. So it is not the first time. So it depends. So if some other Hitler come full of how you say, the capacity of attracting people, um,
Charisma.
charisma, full of charisma, that millions of people vote for him. You can imagine millions of people. I don't want to talk about I don't want the CIA coming tomorrow in my house, but I really cannot understand how you can vote for some yellow banana in the head, It's horrible. But they did. So how it is possible? They were forced, you know. So then there is some like Hitler, who started to say unbelievable things in the 30s, actually in the 20s. So we had to accept the law of karma, eternality of the soul, because it is the only explanation. If someone else would have come, it could have been the same or not. Maybe if the people would have voted for him in the 20s, because remember, Hitler was voted. It was a free vote. They wanted Hitler, and Hitler was already talking about how you say, talking about the different race. And so the people like that the philosophy, like to feel uh, better, And during the Second World War, Srila Prabhupada wrote quite a few articles, about the Second World War when the English came here and did horrible things. They killed, I don't know, many hundreds of people, just the people was peacefully um, demonstrating. Was a political, and they killed many of this, many people in India. And everybody in India think that Mahatma Gandhi was the one who liberated India, which is not. Srila Prabhupada wrote a very nice article on an Indian general called Subhash Chandra Bose. Maybe Mataji Madhuri knows who he is. I don't think any of you knows this. So the um, we don't know how to change the actor. If we change actors, what would happen? Maybe different, maybe not. Thing is, these people are here now, and this is what would happen. Okay?
Yes,
Well,
thank you. Thank you very much.
Now let's say I have a lot of questions, of course, but I want to give the floor for questions to any of you who has any question. The first one is, but Richard, Hare Krishna, but I don't see you.
Oh,
You don't like to show yourself.
sorry about that, Maharaj. My question is, you mentioned the Bhagavad Gita, uh, not talking about spiritual things until the second chapter, and I wanted to ask you, when I read the Bhagavad Gita, I particularly like to start at the second chapter and skip the first chapter. I know you think probably I should start from the first chapter, but the reason is that, with the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna going back and forth, about Krishna, about Arjuna not wanting to fight, to me it feels like kind of repetitive, maybe redundant, if that's the right word. So I don't really like to hear that over and over again about Arjuna not wanting to fight. So that's why I started the second chapter, and I just wanted to get your opinion on that, please.
The Mahamantra Hare Krishna is very redundant. It's always the same. It's been the same for thousands of years. What the way we advance in spiritual life is by accepting certain types of disciplines. The discipline of the guru, whatever he say, you do. There is no question, oh, this is spiritual, then I can do it. This is material, so I don't do it. This is totally wrong. Don't create a philosophy all around. Whatever the guru says, you do. That's it. Srila Prabhupada and whatever Krishna did, the Bhagavad Gita doesn't start from the second chapter. It starts from the first chapter. This is the choice of Srila Prabhupada to begin the Bhagavad Gita from there. But actually, if you read the Mahabharata, then you see that the Bhagavad Gita Parva, I think that the Bhishma is a part of Bhishma Parva. The Bhishma Parva, I think he has a 2 or 3 chapter only, and the second chapter is the Bhagavad Gita Parva, and it starts from where Srila Prabhupada starts writing commentaries on the. So, choosing for spiritual life what I like and rejecting what I don't like, again, is the philosophy of I. You should not, you should not choose what to read or what not to read. And if you say, I don't like, let's accept an I for a moment, okay? And but spiritual life, sadhana bhakti is not about what we like. We have to accept everything in spiritual life, whether we like it or not, because our nature, our personality is built up. It builds up by austerity. If we read the Veda, any book, any Purana, any Upanishad, any book, you see there is always some sage doing austerities. If you don't want to do the austerity or reading, let me see how many, the austerities or reading, oh my God. It is about 60. Yeah, it's about 46 verses. While there are sages or even demons that we get some result, the important result, to thousands of years austerity, then how you are going to be strong mentally if you are not, if you don't do even simple things as a matter of austerity. Austerity is very important. I remember when in the 80s, I started to read the Mahabharata, all of it, not a little book that it was published. There were little Mahabharata. But then I found in the British Museum in London the whole Mahabharata. And I started to read it. And especially in certain chapters, I said, no, I'm not going to make it. Just like the Shanti Parva. I mean, I was 30 years old. I was a young boy. So it was very difficult. Then this remembrance of my spiritual master telling me, you had to do what you had to do, not what you like to do. Thinking that you choose that what you choose is the best because you like it. This is totally wrong understanding. And actually, in this case, you actually don't take full advantage of the time, because during that time that you don't do what you are supposed to do, again, independent if you like it or not, then you lost time. Because that time would have been 3 times, 10 times, 100 times more beneficial if you did it as a matter of austerity and not because you like it, or not doing it because you don't like it. This is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga doesn't mean Hare Krishna, everything. No, it means also sadhana, means also austerity. Okay, so my instruction or suggestion, whatever you like it, is start to read from the first page to the last page.
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Nice to see you again, Bhakti Richard. Hare Krishna. Well, okay, Bhakti Naime.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please receive my humble obeisances and please bless me, Guru Maharaj. It's such a blessing to hear you speak and to listen to your sage words full of wisdom and all the stories that you're telling. I'm so happy to be able to listen to you. And of course, I didn't have prepared my questions because I've been reading a lot of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto Uno, Canto 1, sorry. And Bhagavad Gita, I think I'm on chapter 4 right now. But I wanted to prepare my questions so that I can ask them. I just didn't want to just do them like that. But listening to what you've been talking about, I have,
Excuse me, Saiter.
yes.
Fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita or fourth chapter of the first canto of the Bhagavata?
Fourth chapter Bhagavad Gita and Canto 1, I'm on chapter 8.
Very good.
So yes, I'm preparing my questions to send them to you, but I couldn't make it on time for this Q&A. Maybe for next Q&A I will have questions prepared. But listening to what you were saying, I wanted to piggyback off the questions of the others. And for example, one of the questions that came to my mind while you were speaking during Yamuna Devi's question was, is it because of Krishna's causeless mercy that we don't remember our past lives? That is one question. And the other question would be...
Okay, better one by one.
Okay.
Because I'm an old man and so it is absolutely, this is in the Bhagavad Gita, I cause remembrance and I cause how you say, the contrary of remembrance?
Forgetfulness.
Forgetfulness. Yes, for many reasons. We have a time tolerating the remembrance of what we did in this life. Can you imagine all the nonsense we did in 10, 20 lives where, who knows, maybe we were killed, we were betrayed, we had you cannot tolerate it. Even this life, and you will see when you will be 60 and 70, you will have a very hard time remembering your life, all the suffering and everything. So forgetfulness is a very nice thing. Karmi, they try to forget with alcohol, with drugs. We don't do that. We just chant. And if we chant, and then we became absorbed in one thing, so we can sleep at night. Otherwise, we will not be able to sleep at night because of boom, 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 boom. Things happen, and my son, and my friend, and I have no money, and this and that. Boom, boom. You cannot control it. Arjuna says that controlling the mind is more difficult than the wind. How can you stop the wind? You cannot control your mind. That's impossible. And yoga means controlling the mind. But it is impossible. That's why we have the mantra in such a way that we clean everything and there is only one thing, the mantra. And the mantra is not just a sound. At the beginning, it may be a sound. After some time, maybe 1 year, maybe one day, or maybe whatever day, this mantra will become a person. When you chant Hare Krishna, you don't hear the sound. You see Krishna. You say Krishna. Hare, Radha. You see Radha. And you see Vrindavan. And you see Govardhan. And you see Radhakunda. And you see Varshana. That's the mantra. The mantra is the condensation of the spiritual world. When you are pure, the window opens and you see Vrindavan. That's what happened. And it's not that you chant Hare Krishna to go to Krishna. No, you chant Hare Krishna because Krishna is inside your chanting. There is no difference within the chanting of Hare Krishna and Krishna. This is very, very important, because why you chant Hare Krishna? Oh, because I want to go back to Krishna Loka. No, Krishna Loka is in the chanting. And that's why it's so important. And if you chant and chant and chant, conscious of what and why you are doing it, then then you don't need, you don't, just like now when we chant Hare Krishna, at a certain point we feel the need to think to something else. It's just a need, a psychological, about my money, about my husband and my wife, and my son, and you just feel the need. The chanting doesn't satisfy you. And then you say, no, now I have to think, just a minute, dear Hare Krishna mantra, wait a minute. Now I have to think about my life and my thing. That's a mistake. That's a mistake, because everything is illusory. The mantra is real. It's real because it's transcendental. So this, so the greatest gift that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sachinandana, as Mother Madhuri was saying, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us the mantra. Okay, that's the first question and answer.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. And my second question was related actually to what you said about the mantra. And it was because I sometimes see that I'm chanting the mantra, and like when I'm doing my 16 rounds, I don't want to do them like quickly because I have to go and do something. And I feel that when I wake up in the morning, I want to do the 16 rounds before I leave, because I think that if I do them before I leave, I think I'm okay. Like everything's gonna be good. It's gonna be a great day. And if I do, like, let's say for some reason I wake up late or something, because sometimes life happens and sometimes I'm tired or whatever, and I only do 4 or 6 or 8 before I go, I don't feel as confident when I go. So because I'm very worried that I know that Maya's gonna occupy me until 7, 8 p.m. till I get home. And I don't want to like not be able to do the whole 16 rounds. So I try to do the 16 rounds before. But the question is exactly that sometimes I get like worried while I'm chanting about something else. And I try to just like control my mind, which is what you were just saying right now, and be like, no, 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 we're with Krishna now. We have to chant and just think about Krishna, because I'm conscious that when I'm chanting, I'm relating to Krishna himself with the mantra. So that was my question, like if there was going to
I
be
understand. I understand
a
that.
point where
But
that
there are
doesn't happen.
two things that I want to say. I was trying to count how many times you said I in your question, but I couldn't.
Did I say more Krishna
A
than
lot,
I?
a lot, because it is an art in speech, how you say, or trying to use and not a first or second person singular, or first and second plural, but always the it. In other words, try divest what I'm talking about, and saying it in such a way doesn't refer to anybody you included. And this is very important and very good, because um, in uh, because it is a very normal experience of preachers. There are people making questions that are longer than the answers, and then you understand that he wants to talk. It's not, it doesn't want to do he's obliged to make a question. It's like he feels little aburrido, como I say that in English,
Bored.
bored, little bored. I had to make a question. Oh, this man, he wants a main question, but I'll make you suffer, you know, to have the pleasure to answer to me because I want to talk. I want to say, especially in public, you have to totally avoid the I pronoun. Totally. This is this is good for your mind, for your for the quality, the spiritual qualities all of us need, like being humble. And humble is not a bad thing. No, humble means that Krishna is more important for me. You see how the thing is that Krishna doesn't want to be worshipped. I want to be worshipped, but I don't know that I want to worship Krishna yet. You know, so that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say, being humble. Trinada Pisunichana, Tarora Pisa Ishnana, Amanina, Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Okay. Why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying this? This is a suggestion not to cancel your personality or your individuality, but he's saying that because this is one of the first and most important principle of bhakti is that we are not so important. Krishna is important, and we advance in spiritual life, putting Krishna in the center. Let's close this parenthesis, and go to the second. But you had to tell me in few words because I forgot.
Okay, so the question was like, is there at any point of the chanting where I won't feel like distracted from the chanting the mantra, the Maha Mantra?
Yeah, yeah. Is there any time that it can be, it become, I don't know how to put it because I was born not in any of your wonderful countries, but I wouldn't know how to say it in Italian. So that's it's only a question of practice. And the practice has to be wide, large. It has to be all encompass many things. For instance, if you want to chant without being distracted, then you have to, for instance, the first thing, you have to do less things that it may distract you at night or during the day. So your life has to be the more spiritual as possible because don't undervalue the lifestyle that we do. That's why in our um, in our I just say in our tradition we give a lot of importance to brahmachari life. Brahmachari life means you go a Gurukula when you are very young, and you are not the possibility of getting distracted by girls or by studying nonsensical books, etc., etc. So your mind grows up from the first period clean. It's clean but of course, none of us have been brahmachari, and now we are left with the I say that in English, with a firework mind, and all these things, and it's very difficult to concentrate. So how do you do this? You just practice. You know that you start disadvantaged respect to brahmachari. Indian brahmachari means one who has been brahmachari the whole of his life, but that's the only thing we have. We had to start. When we had to start? Who knows the answer? Of course, Olavanga knows. Because there is one great devotee who said when we should start doing spiritual life. That's Prahlad Maharaj. Huh? Yeah. Prahlad.
So
Prahlad,
at 5 years old.
when he was 5 years old, and his friends at school wanted to play, and they say, "We are 5 years old, Prahlad, please do not bother, us with the thing." And he said, "No, the time is now. The time was yesterday, but since yesterday passed, then start now, you know. And otherwise, what happened? Then you become bigger and you get involved with sports and women and this and that, and then you have family, you have to work to maintain everybody, and then then you become older and you get um, loss of memory. Like you surely remember the conversation between Vidura and Dhritarashtra, that's in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where he explained this principle very, very clearly. Old age is not good for spiritual life. I can tell you. You don't know. I have a hard time walking sometimes. So, and so how then we have to start as soon as possible. Now. Okay? And then you practice, 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 and one day you'll make it. If you are sincere, Krishna will help you. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Who is thanking me?
Me, Amy. I was thanking you. Thank
No, it was a joke,
I know.
I was waiting for you to say hi.
I said I again. I said it again.
In this case, as you must say it. Okay, so any other question? Mataji Lavanga? Oh, one thing, Mataji Lavanga. The name of the eighth vaso is Prabhasa.
Prabhasa, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I was wondering, in Krishna consciousness, of course, this is not directly my question, but somebody asked it to me, and I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to ask it to you. They asked me, in Krishna consciousness, where is the room for creativity and individuality if it's just do what the spiritual master says and don't question anything. They ask, like, is there room for creativity and service or individuality, that type of thing?
This is very nice, very complex. Depends from many factors. There are many variables in this. So first of all, we have to start establishing a common ground, something absolute, in the sense we cannot discuss. Just today, this morning, I was reading some conversation or debate from Italian devotee that I know very well about sex, and so they were saying, why to put a principle that we know that nobody is going to follow, or almost nobody is going to follow? Thus, the spiritual mass is stupid. He doesn't know that his disciple who is saying, yes, yes, for regular principle, and you have to smile while you think, you rascal, you're not going to follow. You're going to break. You're going to break them. At least one, you're going to break them. Do you think that the spiritual master doesn't know this? So but the principle cannot change because we are not able to follow it. You see? You cannot say since nobody or very few, it's wrong to say nobody. Let's say few people is going to follow and other they will not. The principle cannot change because it is difficult to follow even if the spiritual master tell you no, can you imagine if the spiritual master says, okay, you do what you like, then nobody in the next 1,000 years, nobody will even know that this is a principle. Because if you put a principle, it's like you put a sign on the wall that is there, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. Every day you read it. At the end, you will be able to follow it because you read it, because you hear it from your spiritual master saying, yes, this and this and this and that. It's a spiritual master stops. You cannot tell him, oh, you are a fanatical because why you are saying things that nobody's going to follow. No, you had to say it because since you say it, one day they will be able to follow. This is how a spiritual, a bona fide spiritual master thinks. So, similarly, the spiritual master should be able, but this is not a criticism. With a couple of minutes, I will explain what what I mean. The spiritual master should be able to tell the disciple that they can do something that they like it a lot, And this is very easy if you can talk to the disciple. But if you see the disciple only one time in 10 years, because you have thousands of disciples of whom you don't even remember the names, then obviously you will not be able to be, how you say, I don't remember.
Directly
say-
involved?
Sorry?
Are you trying to say like directly involved in the training of the disciple?
Direct involvement if that what you say and what you do really is interests the person. That is not a principle. You can say something that regards Lavanga, don't do this, or Lavanga, do that. But if your spiritual master doesn't, do that, how can be relevant? That's the word. Relevant. It cannot be relevant on news. That's why in ISKCON we had double and triple the spiritual masters. Just yesterday I was reading, now we are 117 initiating spiritual master in ISKCON. When Srila Prabhupada left, there were only 11. And so we have a lot of spiritual masters, and you have to accept one of those. You have to. Otherwise, you don't go anywhere in your spiritual life. You need a spiritual master. So, if you want to do something and you don't say anything to the spiritual master because you are afraid that they will tell you no, because this is what happened, then you don't do questions to the spiritual master that refers to what you want to do. You are cheating him. It's happened many times. I know. They did it to me. And I knew that he was trying to cheat me because I let it go. So there was one disciple who says, there's a Guru Maharaj, after initiation, I will shave, or at least very, very short. Will not say the name. I said, oh, very nice, very good. I was thinking cheater. And now he still have his hairs like this. So spiritual life is gradual. You cannot become too much with the sentido de culpa, ¿cómo se dice?
Feeling guilty?
Feeling guilty
Mm.
because you have some material desire, because the guru knows that you have some material desires. So, of course, they should be limited. You cannot say, well, my individuality, now I want to smoke marijuana or whatever. That's sinful. You cannot do that. But if you want to do something like there are devotees who wants to play. There was in the past, there is still this band who play crazy, crazy. I don't know how they call it music. It's like they jump on the people. I don't know, is this mad?
Like
How?
heavy metal or something.
No, no, no. But, not to make. But that is how you can meditate on Krishna if you play in that way. You cannot because your mind is burned by noise. That is not music. That's noise. So, but if you really, so it depends from the spiritual master like a father. A father does not want perfection from the son because the son is a son, is a child. So the spiritual master did not become apart from some grace souls like Prabhupada. Even the spiritual master himself, he was born in ignorance, just like who remembers the shloka when he says, Oma Gyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmili Timiranda. Timiranda means hell. We were born in ignorance, and then the Guru gave us the torch of knowledge, and then we became devotees, initiated, second initiated, sannyasi, Guru, e todo, liberated souls, and everything. So, as an answer, you cannot avoid to have some individual, how you say, activity in your life, and the guru knows that you are going to do it. So if the guru tell you, no, you don't do it or you go to hell, you obey in the beginning, but then you'll explode because you need it. So the guru knows. He will not tell you. That's why I was saying I don't want, to say something that, maybe someone does that. I would disagree with my disciple. I won't say my disciple do exactly what they say, you go to hell, because you destroy their life, their spiritual life, because they cannot do it. Why tell something to one devotee not to do something that he needs it? So we need graduality. So you need some individuality, don't exaggerate, and you see that slowly by slowly, any imperfect material things, it will bore you. It's just a question of time. Maybe 10 years, you go to dance. I don't know if it refers to you, but I have two or three lady disciple dancers, that they even danced in front of me, and I was there, looking, and I don't understand why she was moving that way. And another one is, that is a model, so I saw some picture, putting all the thing, becoming even more beautiful that she is already, and all these things. I cannot write to her and say don't do it because she wants to do it. It's not within the range of her possibility. That's why spiritual life is gradual.
That was a very good answer. Thank you so much.
Okay, so either we have the last question or we close now. How long has been until now?
It's 7:20 now p.m.
How much?
7:20 p.m.
7:20 means 1 hour and 20.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's enough. So anyway, thank you very much for your attention and your questions. I'll see you next month. So
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hari